Hello everyone, watch this review here with a look at Sinestro and his Sinestro Core outfit from Wave 20 of DC Universe Classics. Now, while this isn't the first time that we've had this character in this look in the line, this is the first time that they've done it right. Way back they released a much shorter Sinestro. It's a really weird decision. But since then we've also got a classic outfit, one that's the proper height from a 2-pack, and now finally we do have a Sinestro Core outfit as well. So by the end of the retail release for this line, they've finally done the character right. Now there is a little bit of a read-up on the back, but if you don't know who Thal Sinestro is by now, yeah, not sure, how much that's going to do for you, but basically he was the greatest among Green Lanterns, but his solution for maintaining order, a little bit controversial. So eventually he was stripped of his ring, then he got himself a much cooler ring, and also his whole damn core. So he's a go-getter, very ambitious guy. Hold on a second and I'll get him out of pack. I thought that they stopped using rubber bands. What the heck, Mattel? Sinestro comes with a sort of generic yellow power battery. Others have mentioned that it's kind of weird, especially given that they did a proper Sinestro Core power battery back when they released the Sinestro Core Scarecrow, but, instead of redoing that, they're giving this older one, which kind of sucks. As well as the head of Nekron, which is kind of weird to see the head just off by itself, because usually it's head and groin plate, but, this time they decided to bundle the groin separately. I can only imagine that they had originally intended to include head with the scythe, but then they decided to not do the scythe, and they just left the head in with this one. I don't know. It's kind of funky. What he does not come with, however, is energy constructs, which is always, the line kind of sorely needs. As for Sinestro himself, his leg is a little warped out of box, just because of the stupid rubber bands. This one also has a stupid paint defect. That's why I hate buying online, but, sometimes you can't really help it when you aren't seeing these at retail. And sometimes you just can't wait. Now, the sort of interesting thing is, if you look at the photo here, it looks like he has ankle pivot in the photo, but when you look at the actual figure, yeah, no ankle pivot to speak of. Although the plastic is a little bit softer, feels a little bit cheaper on the ankle. So, I suppose you could probably bend it out a little bit if you wanted to give him a sort of fake ankle pivot, but it's not quite the same thing. As for the figure itself, let's bring in some other Sinestro Core members to do a quick comparison. Also Green Lantern for later. Here we have the Sinestro Core Scarecrow, and Lo, where's he mash? Yeah, it's Lo from the Green Lantern Classics. As you'll notice, they did opt to use the molded belt, as seen with the Sinestro Core Scarecrow, rather than use it as an add-on, which I never really liked. Surprisingly, despite the fact that he's a bit taller and all, he's not tremendously taller than, these other characters, but let's compare him to Hal Jordan here. Crap. So, he's definitely a little bit taller than Hal, which is a good thing because the character is often depicted as being taller than Hal Jordan, so I am happy with that. You'll notice that he also has a much slimmer body, the muscles a lot, more trim and all that, so that's also kind of how I typically picture Sinestro. Otherwise, right off the bat, they didn't sculpt the boots like they did with the Sinestro Core Scarecrow, which is a little bit weird. The general body, no. It definitely looks like they opted for a much thinner lower ab piece here, and then, maybe it's closer to, crap, I gotta go get Toyman now. Okay, first off, to the very top of the head, it actually looks like he's taller than Toyman. excluding the crown portion, but the more important thing I was trying to draw attention to is just the torso work, but apparently the lower sort of ab region has a significantly different cut here, which is kind of interesting. And also, if you compare the upper torsos, it looks like the Sinestros is a bit thinner, which is also kind of weird. So I'm wondering if these parts have been previously used anywhere. Typically with a line you assume that they have, but so far can't find a real one-to-one match, which is interesting. Otherwise, just moving on right there. As mentioned, the boots not sculpted, they're kind of just like these. But you'll notice these got like those sort of weird indents or cuts all across the legs and some of the muscles here. They did the same effect on the version that was released in the 2-pack. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like muscle or something. It's kind of funky. Also, you only get single jointed knees, which kind of sucks. And also single jointed elbows, so, you know, not quite as nice as the Sinestro Corps Scarecrow. Although they did definitely take some of the aspects from that and then ported it here, like the belt, which does not suck like the previously released Sinestro Corps members, which have these little things that pop off. Yeah. As for the ring itself, surprisingly, the detail is a little bit low. It's a really small ring. I mean, when they had the other ones quite a bit larger, you could clearly make out the emblem. Here, not so much. Which is kind of funky. The piece up here at the neck, it's just a added bit of plastic they glued on. Of course, the issue with mine is it doesn't really seem to be centered. It's kind of going off to one side. Not sure if it's like that with all of them. There doesn't seem to be anything I can do to actually move it. I guess I'd have to physically dislodge the glue or something, then re-glue it into place. Really awesome looking head sculpt here. Really digging the likeness, and then, you know, the eyes and stuff are a really nice touch. By the way, in the short break just now, I did go back and find something that he's a little bit similar to, and that would be the Black Lantern Ab and Soar. I mean, if you look at the torsos here, it seems like they've got about the same width, although there's a lot more build-up going over here. And he's also got those same kind of notches on the lower body here. In fact, it kind of looks like the legs for these are both the same. Possibly the same for Toyman as well, but he doesn't have the etching. But he's taller because he's got a somewhat thicker lower torso / ab piece. Also, he's one of the few DC Universe classics to have a really distinct belly button. I mean, it's really visible in person. Not sure how well it shows up on camera. In most cases, you either don't see a belly button at all, or, you know, it's not all that visible. So, not sure if it's supposed to be like that, because that's kind of nuts. Alright, jumping past all that random insanity and all that. I'm not sure if this could be like this with all of them, but it looks like the paint's much thicker on one triangle here. If I do find him in retail, I'll probably pick up a second copy, by the way. But this is a really thick swath of paint going down here, straight down the line, and the rest sort of even. So I'm just wondering if that's a defect or something. I assume it would be. Otherwise, you know, it's basically solid colors of the blacks. The reds looks like a solid color. The yellows seem to have like different shades, which I think is just due to an uneven paint app. Like they used a somewhat lighter shade, and then, although in some places it does look like it's got proper highlighting, it's got more of an orangish appearance. Also, if you look at the part where it intersects with the belt, there's this kind of really wonky little division here, so I'm half wondering if this is also an additional piece just to sort of build up the height. I don't know, it's got lots of little weird things going on here. Also, look at all that information on his back there. Looks like he's got a lot more trademark information than these other ones. Yeah, he's got like the full address and stuff there or something. It's weird. Getting off topic. In terms of articulation, we're just looking at really standard stuff. Rotation at wrist, single jointed elbow, rotation at bicep. They did do the little Sinestro logo on the side. Ball jointed shoulders. Head has some up-down rotation. Seems to have a sort of surprising amount of upward motion. Yeah. Ab crunch. Waist rotation. Looks a little bit hokey due to the belt. Now, whatever this thing is, it doesn't seem like it rotates as well. Legs, standard, not a whole lot to say there. Rotation at thigh, single joint knee. Then down at the ankle you have a single joint there as well. And unlike some of the other characters, it's not like as impeded. It's like it really wasn't getting a lot of inward with the Scarecrow, but this one does seem to go a lot further in. I'm just wondering how they seem to get the foot pivot, whether like the promo model had pivot and this one doesn't, or if it's just that the plastic is weak enough to sort of accommodate it. It's making kind of feel like the plastic's bending here, but I don't think that's going to be actually turn out to be like pivot or something. Although, I mean, it would be great if they did start doing foot pivot on this line, or ankle pivot. So, it's just something that they kind of need. All in all, not as nice of a figure as I thought from like some of the other photos and even in pack. I mean, it's got a few errors. I think some are specific to mine. In particular, not really feeling this ring here, which is surprisingly little detail compared to the other ones they've done. But I mean, it's definitely a huge step up from the one that was previously released, and it's a good looking figure. Definitely liking this, and it's cool that they did kind of go out the, I guess, retail version of DC Universe Classics with a character that they had previously screwed up, but they went back, they made right, and they did a pretty darn good job at it. Definitely happy to pick up this figure. Probably one of the ones I was most looking forward to this wave. Of course, the biggest disappointment with this wave is just the fact that they chose not to include Nekron's accessory, which they did previously show off, but neither here nor there. This has been a look at the Sinestro from Wave 20. Until next time, folks,